So welcome to another exploration into consciousness with the Earth Movable Hub. And like every week, we've got together from all the different places in the world to share our inspirations, ideas, thoughts, feelings, experiences with all those energies that are coming in at the moment. And our topic today is coherence, head, heart, and gut coherence. Because those three, if we look at those three, we can really cover a lot of material to be discussed, be that now from, how do we manifest with ease by using the head, the clear vision, by using the heart, allowing, the flow of the information from and to the heart, just like the blood. And then, of course, the digestive aspect of it all. And the digestive aspect of it all is quite interesting as well. So there's lots and lots of energies that have been coming in for all of us. And I want to start with a question. It's like, why? Not why are those energies coming in, but why are we even bothering with that? For what purpose? Are we trying to ground that energy? Why?
I mean, for me, it's about cultivating joy, right? Seeing where we are in the process of everything else. And for me, just this last 11 days in this wave spell of the blue storm, the energy has been really ripe for I just lost all my words. Ripe for losing words. No, ripe for gaining momentum, right? I feel almost like the waves as they come in and out of the shore in the picture behind me, this energy of building energy, right? And using that head, heart, gut coherence. I mean, we're always processing things, but my question, my focus over the last week to 11 days or so has been, how can I use that energy that I'm processing for extra fuel? And and that is going to help me seed energy, over the next few months, over the next year. And this year of the dragon that's coming up really strong is, it feels like it's going to be a really powerful year for all kinds of things, for clearing energy out, but also bringing and intending the new energy you want to bring in. So how do you, do that with extra energy that you can put behind that? That's what I've been focusing on the last few weeks. But digesting, right? Looking at what we're processing and then energetically digesting it to be used as more fuel.
So really harnessing the energy and see how to use it and apply it.
And subtle world and what is for us our major focus, physical world, dream world, and our physical world. This is what my understanding of God brain. Yeah. For me, I live long time already. I answered that question. For me, heart and brain, how they work together. And I already return my, not just my, but humanity natural connection between heart and brain. And I understood in detail why we today talking about brain like primal, and how it's connected to our experience as humans. And why, when we start talking about heart, it's not so long ago, hippie started, loudly about heart, but they still couldn't tap exactly what is that, yeah? The New Age, they were talking again about love, heart, but it's not that. They still didn't tap into science, universal science about heart, brain, and brain, head, brain. But it's a science. And for our experience, in my understanding, what I undid, for our duality experience that we had for a long time, here on Earth at least, what we know, what we're experiencing still, and we have created this emotional body, good and bad, to evaluate this duality, have duality experience. We had to shift and move to brain and center in brain. We had to. Otherwise, we would not have good and bad. It just would not happen naturally. So that's why, in my understanding today, we are so value brain and still looking to find in brain answer for all our equations and still staying centered in brain. But what I discovered, our primal brain in heart, there is a nerve tissue in heart, science found it. They say around 40,000 cells, but it is brain, not muscle heart tissue. And remember, we had, even maybe you personally had that ultrasound picture when you are pregnant, a woman pregnant, and they make a picture ultrasound. There are no fetus yet, no body, nothing, but it's heart. Mother heart and double speed, another some beating, So this is my understanding and what I undig and how I structure now my experience. And I understand duality, and at the same time centering back in heart and giving my brain that assignment to translate for me, to explain for me, to receive signal of true my desire, remembering my remembering. This is what making my experience and being duality, and at the same time out of judgment, out of good and bad.
Yeah, and this is why we talk about coherence, because it's every single part of it is part of the whole. And I think, what you're saying, Irina, with all this understanding that we've gone through over the last couple of 100 years, it's like that really thrown us into that separation. And that was it was an evolution, and that kind of evolution, de-evolution, you can call it that too, but at the end of the day, it has got us where we are now. And that level of understanding is something to be proud of, because it takes out the ignorance. But at the same time, once you have a saturated level of understanding and you get, the bigger picture, then what you automatically start doing is you get drawn back into that heart, into that feeling, because this is the food for the soul. That's what
It was fun ride.
China says.
For some people, it's still fun ride. Duality, fun ride.
Yeah.
To be the duality, what you call like devolution. It was fun ride. On some level, we were conscious choosing that, not on human level. No.
Well, yeah, and in reality, I mean, we can look at that, from a spiritual perspective, saying, well, spirit, the creator has chosen to fractalize in order to have that understanding. So it's like, there's no need to put a right or wrong onto it, because that forced evolution thrown us into that fractalization in a much faster way to get back and appreciate, the entirety, the wholeness, the oneness, and the spiritual nature of our existence at the end of the day. And you know, and this is why this head, heart, gut coherence, you know, is a manifestation tool. Because if you think of the head, we associate it with the thinking, the thoughts, the clear vision. This is what we want. Then we got to bring in the heart, the feeling, to start magnetically getting, you know, the frequency, the vibration, everything as an attraction and as a resonance perspective in. And then, of course, nothing happens without the willing part, without the action part. And this is really a part of, you know, why do we have hands? Why do we have legs? Well, to walk, to touch, to relate, to create something with it. So everything, you know, who we are, there is a reason why we have all these things. So there's no point to say, oh, you know, this is just, I'm just feeling or I'm just thinking, you know, and not making use of the physical vehicle that we have that is pure potential for creation. Lana, when you think of our topic today, what kind, you've got the, actually look at her picture, the head, the heart, and the gut. Fantastic. Well synchronized.
Yeah. Well, when I think about it, I try to keep it simple from a spiritual perspective. And so you got the head, the heart, and the gut. So to me, from the spiritual point of view that I am thinking about it, is that the head is more on the scientific side, right? The logical side. And then the heart represents love and compassion and all that stuff that goes with the heart. And the gut is the form, the body, right? The physical form, which is a mental form at the same time, right? When you look at it from that perspective. So you bring all of it together, the head, the heart, the gut, which is science, love, and the form. And so I try to bring all that together and have a logical understanding or perspective of what that means to me. And so that's where I'm coming from when it comes to that. So as I said, I try to keep it simple and not confuse myself, because once you bring too many words into the picture and so on, that's where you get confused. And then you're losing what you're trying to really understand about yourself and your connection to being one with all there is, the source itself. So that's kind of where I am coming from, where I'm understanding the topic for today.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense to you.
Fabulous. I mean, you know, this is the thing. Many truths bring together a bigger picture, you know. So we all look at things differently. And tomorrow, if we do the show tomorrow, we probably think of something completely different again, isn't it? You know.
True.
Hi, Herminia. How are you doing?
Hello, hi, how everybody?
It looks like it's cold where you are too, right? Are you in the car?
Yeah, I just got here to close to the office and I'm here in the parking lot. Yeah, it's like in the 20 something. uh, Fahrenheit. I mean Fahrenheit, no Celsius. Yeah, I just came in.
Yeah, so we were just introducing what we talk about and just throw out a couple of things, the head, the heart, and the gut. You were saying in the chat, you were saying that you have experience with lots of otherworldly energies at the moment. Is that the right way of putting it?
You mean like interacting being from another you know, that was my when I saw the video that somebody shared, I don't know, it was you about these piano players that he looked like almost like a rubber man. You know, rubber band, like he can flip and back and forth and up and down. And you know, and I was wondering myself because I think it was on some Monday night. I never watched TV or anything, but for some reason it catch my attention on YouTube that they had the 20 best performing on London Has Talent and American Has Talent. I don't follow any of those shows. However, I catch my attention for some reason, and there was this young girl. I think she's from Himalaya. One of the ancient, I don't know, it's close to Japanese, no Japanese. I can't remember the name of the country now. Anyway, this young girl, she's blind. She played the piano, and then she performed the first song that she performed was her own their own song that she wrote. And then when Simon came to her, when she finished, it was so marvelous, the performance, that everybody just cheered up. It was like this angelic voice. And then the whole, I don't know how many thousand people are in those places. And the performance that she did was so marvelous that Simmons was coming up to the stage and, you know, told her in the ear, the father coming in, and he asked her to do another. When he found out she wrote her own song, he asked her to perform another one. I mean, her voice so energized, so like you can say, I don't want to mention angelicacy because it sounds like almost like, you know, tiki talking. However, it was so profound. I said, how I can imagine how many people were activated in that moment that they went for you know, to look this performance. But this way, this girl, she's blind. Okay, she had these parents that maybe support her all the way. She had her dream to come into America to sing, right? And she want to go to the Julia school, one of those big one, school for artists. And the performance that she did, and the voice, the quality of the voice, this joy, that this expression of joy, like a gratitude, joy, and you can feel in her voice, it's like a bubble or love, or you can scream or like this light stream of water. You can feel it in her voice, and it's it has to be. And you know, it reminds me the movie from Matrix when Neo went to rescue Morpheus. I don't know if anybody of you saw the movie, but in the first one, that when they went to rescue Morpheus was jumping from the helicopters, and Neo figured out that he won't be able to make it when he was jumping from the building. Then Neo realized that he won't be able to make it to the helicopter, and then he jumped to grab him by the hands and lifting him up. And in that moment, I was thinking, really, we are in this jungle 3D experience, and like walking in Melasa, that we can hardly lift our feet. Definitely, I know from my point of view that we have been boosted from wherever way it is, but the infiltration or different level of human in different, I can figure out myself with my 2 cents mentality, that we have infiltrated, you know, like a legions or a special beings, maybe intergalactic, being rescue this planet. Because my figure out is like, we cannot do this by ourselves, because we have been so dumbed down for some millions of years that we lost the way, no matter how much work we do. My point of view that we cannot do it alone. And my understanding is that we have been infiltrated so many special beings in different areas, and you know, in arts, music, and everything that we can see right or left. That is somebody coming with marvelous, simple thing that just like cheer up a whole population.
I have a question, Herminia. I have a question. I have a question to you, Herminia. When
Yeah.
you were listening to that voice, to that girl, yeah? Where
Mhm.
did you feel the biggest vibration? In your head or in your chest? Where did you have the biggest
No,
vibration?
of course in my chest. Of course in my chest, because it's the connection. Yeah, because that's what really, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was talking with somebody, I think was on Sunday, that we mentioned something about the heart. I said it makes sense, because the first organ that we receive when the two things come together is the heart, and from the heart coming the spine, and then the brain, and then we don't have understand that how that happened, but the seed is the original seed of whatever expression we had in our DNAs coming in the heart, and then from the heart is everything coming from the heart, and then
but without your brain, you would not able to translate that signal.
of course,
You would not able to apply in your life and move and make your life different, bring some change. So this is we need. Today, we still need these both centers.
Of course, because we don't have it's a combination of the whole thing. It's like the computer. If you don't have the monitor, then you cannot work in the computer. It's like I see my physical body like a physical computer system that had all those integrated systems inside, and every part of my body had a specific integration, and then the one that when I concentrate in the heart, it's just like, don't forget the heart is the beginning for manifestation in the physical body. But
And you had experience, signal came from heart, and then brain was processing, translating, like you, Martina, saying, logic, brought logic, because we are logical here today.
Yeah, exactly.
Our life and around us logical here today. Yeah.
I don't know if I did the right thing, but I was arguing with a group that were trying to selling to people about it, just that we don't need the brain, we just need the heart. I said, listen, we are in the 3D experience life, and then you telling me that if I don't need the brain, then what I'm planning to do? I'm planning to build my vibration higher and get out of this world. Where are I going to go? I was arguing that position because we're trying to detach one thing to the other one. And I think that's how myself, from my point of view, we time get lost, because we are completely integrated in this whole game. And the only way I can disappear from here is I transmute my body from physical to another level to be able to go to another place. And then when that happens, how do I know where I'm going? And that was one of my point of view with this group, I think was last week. Case, it's kind of
let me say something to that, and thanks for bringing that up, because that girl singing is such a beautiful illustration of the head, the heart, and the gut coherence, because she had to have that dream, she had to have that thought to do it in order to bring her to circulate her voice.
Yeah.
And then obviously take action in order to get there, and take the lessons and do whatever. Now, there's another level to that, and I was actually looking at this head, heart, gut from an economical perspective. Yeah, let's say, for instance, and we can use that young lady who sang that song from that perspective, because if you look at the head, you can say clear vision, thinking. We can call this almost like the product, the song, right? That's something that she knew that she wanted to do. Then the heart had to come in, which the heart, if you think of the heart as a circulator, the blood flow going back and forth. So there has to be the circulation of the song, of the information, just like us sharing our information. This is where the heart can have a different kind of real importance to circulate it. And then as she circulates, as she sings the product, by having taken action through the gut, she reaches out to us and we receive it, the circulation, the song through the heart again. And then we're having this conversation, and we have to think about it, you know, in order to bring that example in today and package it up in our head, heart, gut coherence. But in order to do that, you actually had to go and sit in your car, you know, and put your woolly hat on in order to sit in your car in the cold. So there's the action again. So it's like, you know, somebody might have a thought and it might get us from the heart or the gut perspective. So this is the interaction. It's not a linear thing that it has to be the head, the heart, the gut. You know, it can be anything. You can feel it in the gut first.
Yeah.
Then bring it into the heart whilst you've explained it through the head. So that coherence is like not linear.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting because, you know, without the product, there is no circulation. Without her thinking of having that song or having that impulse, wherever that impulse comes from, there wouldn't be that circulation of the product, right? And then if there's no product, there is no circulation, then there is no digestion.
Exactly.
There is no consuming of us, because we have consumed that song that she circulated through the heart. So this is where these three things are quite fun to actually look at. And there's something Steiner was saying, the value of a commodity. And this brings us back to all those energies. If you look at energy as a product, as a commodity, just for that particular point of reference here, the value of a commodity is determined by the consumption, not the production. And I would like to add to this, the value of a commodity is determined by the circulation and the consumption, not the production. Because think about it, if all these energies are coming in and none of us has a capacity to actually receive it,
or the
consume it, circulate it around, because let's face it, look at all the YouTubes out there, including ours. Everything is just the same thing in different words.
Yes.
Expressed through all the spiritual fractals that we are representing. It's all the same thing at the end of the day. But everyone has a different perspective, a different, I don't want to call it a different truth, but, you know, we call it a truth, but it's all the same.
Vision. Unique vision. Unique vision.
Yeah.
I would like to add to this a little bit, maybe deeper, when you connected heart is, how you said it, translator, or how you said it? Circulation.
Circulation. Yes.
Yeah. Actually, if we look a little bit more precise to that process, circulation, it's emotion. It's actually emotion that connected to heart.
Movement, circulation.
Yeah, creating emotion, creating from heart, some kind of emotion connected to heart, and this is where the circulation. And if we look in our world experience today, that emotion that connected to heart, it's not the same emotion when we look at our world. It's not the same. We have two emotional bodies in our body. And for having experience, we have to have that feeling, that emotion connected to our perception of something. Without, if you don't have emotion, you don't have an experience. You just observe something happening, but you're not participating. So there is another emotional body that is different from our emotional body that we used to use, our duality, good and bad. And that emotional body gives us that something different. I feel now what Herminia said, in infiltration in our world. It's actually remembering coming. And we have today young people who are born and they already centered in that emotional body.
I'd
And-
almost wonder if we can just for the purpose of clarification or playing with that, we could say there's two things. We have the emotional body, and the emotional body we know is super, super distorted because of all the indoctrination, the programming that needs clearing out. And then we have a energy body, that frequency body, that works on the resonance, you know?
Yeah.
But actually, we don't need to clear this emotional body that we used for previous experience of duality. We just need to center from that and realize for ourselves, do we want to continue duality experience, or we are ready for those beautiful voices and become those beautiful voices? We are still having inside of us all of that, all that beauty inside of us still. We just need to decide for ourselves what kind of emotional body we will use to create our experience, or brain emotional body, good, bad, or heart emotional body, just pure beauty.
I mean, as you say, it doesn't go away. It doesn't.
No.
But the one thing we can, I think, say with certainty, I certainly can say from an experiential perspective, is the more I have cleared my emotional body, the less, the easier it has been for me to focus on what I want rather than what I don't want. And, you know, really clear out the habitual emotional.
Habitual, yeah.
Those patterns, you know, so
you added to your emotions that you used before, you added a little bit something different kind of emotion, that beauty from heart, that what we call in our space opening heart. I opened my heart and everything brighter, everything clearer, and less of pain, less of, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in my case, when I look at it, I wouldn't say I've added something. I've subtracted. I've taken away all the dirt that I had built on top of the beauty. And now I have it. It's easier for me to see the beauty shining through, you know, but it doesn't really matter which way you want to look at it. This is at the end of the day that we need to clear the distortion. And that is the self-mastery, the self-healing part of our journey, you know, and that is, you know, part of that head, heart and gut journey in order to create that coherence, you know. The more we let go of the old, the more we can start receiving. Hi Jane. We can start receiving what we actually want to receive, or stepping into the magic. It's not even what we want anymore. It's just like that, what we never had that we could. And that's where all of a sudden that magic opens up to us. We considered magic, and in reality, was it ever really magic, or was it something that we had forgotten that was available to us?
I think talking about these two different emotional bodies is interesting, because from my perspective, when you're talking about the head, the heart, and the gut coherence, I see, you know, there's an emotional body that comes from the gut, right? That's also attached to the dreaming body. And then the emotional body that comes from the heart, right? And then the thinking body, that mental energy that works, you know, here. And when those things aren't connected, for example, when someone hasn't worked through their inner child or, you know, trauma, then it's that emotional gut body that is reacting reacting, not choosing how to act. And from my perspective, when you can clear out that dirt and energetic debris, you know, when you can bring it up to the surface for healing, right? Then you become more clear, and you can start opening up that energy of the heart, right? It's almost like a journey through the chakras. We were talking about that a little bit last week, right? That there's this perception almost of not having like individual chakras, but I think that's a process of evolution, right? That you have to clear and open up all the individual chakras before you can get into that unified chakratic space. I see, all the time with the clients that I work with, where people are stuck in their heads, right? Because the lower chakras are maybe closed down, and whatever information they're trying to process can't ground, it can't flow to earth, right? And then it ends up just getting stuck in the head and spinning with worry, with doubt, with fear, not being able to stop thinking about an interaction, maybe negative, maybe not. To me, that's those lower chakras not being open, and the emotions of the gut energy not being processed.
And it's often as well, what I from my experience I've had was, it's where the middle chakra, the heart, was blocking. It wasn't, the gateway is not open.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that middle chakra, the heart chakra, you're going to open that up, and you're going to allow yourself to perceive that information, the fifth dimensional information, then everything starts flowing in a much better way.
And like Tanya said, emotion of God. I remember this saying, I feel with my God. It's like intuition. And before, like you, Martina, saying open heart, we have first that intuition, something not what I enjoy anymore. And those rememberings, you are saying, working with clients, they have remembering, clearing past, coming through God, like through God. It's like intuition to return back and feel that what is not working for me today. And then, yes, then we need to look with heart, open it, and then you unstuck being in your brain and circulating only inside of your brain again and again the same thoughts. This is how they connected. I love it. I don't have much experience working with God yet, like a dream body, like a connection to dreams. But that is a very interesting topic for me.
So I just want to say something here, because as you guys are talking about this, that has changed for me. What has changed for me is that the gut has taken on a different job. With the clearing out of the emotional body, that for me was always dreaming body, emotional body, gut feeling was always in the gut, always in the solar plexus, right? Now, with the solar plexus moving into the heart chakra, there is less separation of that, because we don't have to use the heart now to really filter everything, because the gut is basically cleared out much more as we have, cleared out that turmoil of emotions. Now, the gut's job for me now, in the coherence perspective, is pure action. I'm looking at the gut now as digesting the information that's coming from the heart, from the head, and consuming it. Consuming means what I'm going to do with it. That was part of the question. All these energies that are coming in, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to act on it? And why? Because we're getting to a stage where, people who have done the mastery work to a certain extent will get to a stage, and this is the sense that I'm getting now, and obviously also coming from Peru and having much more of that connection to nature and earth keeper and all of that. There is this real strong pull of being able to say, now I'm not just doing this for me anymore. I'm moving from the individualized consciousness into that group soul consciousness. So why, the why for me, the mind, heart, gut coherence is not just for me anymore. It's actually for the collective. It's actually getting back into service, but no longer because I have to make money, I have to prove that I can it, I need that exchange. That's all something that, we still do, but that's no longer the driving force. it's really that service that seems to be coming forward now, to creating, like Jen is creating a community now, bringing people together. It's not about making millions. It's about really bringing the people together, making that harmonious and peaceful connection. And of course, lots of us do not just make that separation. I think, Herminia, you mentioned that before with bringing the otherworldly, beings in as well. We have never been separated from them. It's not that they're just all of a sudden rocking up here and we're becoming more aware. Yes, we're becoming more aware because of the energies are changing and our awareness levels are heightened and increase, but we are in this together. They're not coming after us. They're not coming to help us. We're helping each other. Our work is just as important as their work. That's why we call them the star brothers and sisters. It's one big fucking soup. We are stirring.
Everyone has their parts.
And some of us are more in the earth keepers, and some of them are, connecting with the stars, and some are only in the stars. And lots of us here in this group are obviously world bridges. We are bridging the worlds, the different planets, the galactic commerce market and everything. Because we have that greater understanding, and that doesn't just come from the heart. Initially, you have to, this is where AB has been a great contribution, because when he started talking about the galactic commerce market, and I'm like, I could feel it, but I needed somebody to talk about it first. I needed to understand it. When I listened to Rudolf Steiner, the things that he wrote 100 years ago, which are so totally spot on now. It's that understanding that triggers the circulation information of the feelings of the heart. Now, go ahead. Sorry, the gap there. What are we going to do about it now? Sorry, Herminia, off you go.
No, it was interesting that you mentioned that, like, it was like when you mentioned about your trip to Peru, and I was remember that you mentioned that your luggage didn't get with you, that you were without clothes for a few days, right? And it's like your whole journey to Peru was like you mentioned now, let it go to what you think it was, and then to become the whole thing integration of the whole thing, the who really you are. And it was like your journey was let it go, and then doing the less is doing the more. And if for some reason I was thinking about that, comparison one thing with another, because sometimes for me, like going, doing, then just on Sunday, I got this advice that do less, and doing less, you can do more, right? And then it's like, wow, it's like a letting go everything, and then you came in just to this journey in Peru, you came in just you, and with the clothes that you had on. And then you were like open to everything that was there for you, because you don't have to carry anything with you in the moment. It was like I had nothing, because I'm completely empty to receive everything that I have here to receive. It's kind of fascinating, because from my own experience, sometimes I'm thinking that doing, and in the end, I figure I have done nothing really much, because trying to do so many things, and then I don't grab what I really, the 20% important. And then it's like letting go, like you said, and then receive everything that is everything, the oneness. Let it go to receive that oneness.
There was another level to that as well, because I had packed, as I do, I have, for every day I had a different outfit, because that's what I do, because I like it that way. And then I was there for 4 days without clothes, and I was in the same thing, and I thought, this is so interesting. And then I looked at that and I'm thinking, am I acting any differently? Am I being different? Am I defined? Am I allowing myself to be defined by my clothes? And I could wholeheartedly say I was exactly the same. It was almost like a bit of a trickster energy. I laughed my ass off because, I mean, what you do, right? I mean, there were people lending me their underwear and their socks and everything. I'm thinking, this is the most amazing experience here, right? But it didn't define me. I never allowed myself to be defined by it. And that's what opened up that there was this like, oh, everything is already there. Whatever I've experienced over lifetimes, it's in me. It's not in my clothes, what I'm wearing, or the jewelry that I'm, or that. So there was a lot of that. And the other thing is, that it's all about experience. It's really all about experience. I mean, there's lots of stuff we read in books and we understand. When we get excited about it, you can be rest assured that you have experienced it in a different lifetime. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that attaches to it. But, all this love business we always talk about, and me, I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I had to meet those shamans. And the male shaman, it was the male shaman because of the distortion of my male and my female. That's been something I've worked all my life, right? And being with these people and feeling that energy, that simplicity and that depth and that non-separation. So there was a lot of this non-separation. This is where we're going now too. It's like, we're having all these experiences of otherworldly energies, or, connecting, with the food that we eat in a completely different way. And again, the simplicity of it. Close for that. It was just like, wow, stripping back.
I would add to that, Martina, too. It's like when you get in that state of allowance where you don't have the need to control it anymore, you're not fretting about it, you're just like, yeah, I'll take your underwear, thank you. Yeah, you have a pair of socks, thank you. Like, let's just go on with the day and have a good time. Like, when you get in that just open state of allowance, and like I call it the easy bandwidth, right? If I just put myself in that easy bandwidth where everything is easy, that's where all the magic happens. And everything just flows, and everybody around me flows right with me. Once I start getting back into resistance or like that scratch of expectation, then it's not as easy.
And it was just joyful, and also seeing the people that came forward. Some didn't care at all, and there was we went up to Machu Picchu, and I didn't have, it was raining, or supposedly, and somebody I had not even had changed a word with, she just walked up to me and said, aren't you the one who has no clothes? And I'm, yes. And she said, oh, I have my poncho, I have a second one. I'm like, so sweet, It was, but I think it was really a beautiful teaching for me. It was a receiving, that was the initial one, but that wasn't actually very difficult for me. I realized it was that we're all one. And
it's interesting that you mentioned about the experience, because if we think about it, I also remember one day that Andy was talking about our value is our experience. That is what we really, the value for humanity is the experience that we experience. My history is my experience, and that's my market value in the galactic way that I want to look at it, or whatever.
That's a product, that's a commodity. And frankly, this is why we have been commoditized, right? Because our experience, our feelings and emotions are being harvested. But this is part of that gut, head, heart, gut coherence that we're not allowing to be harvested for the experiences that we have, And also to realize, the amazingness of the human experience, because that kind of experience, it's not done anywhere else in this universe, in this galaxy.
Interesting.
I think just getting back to the heart for a minute, right? Like you were saying, Martina, we as a group, right, we're awake, we're aware, right? But there's that energy process of awakening that happens with, I think, within the heart, right? When someone wakes up, like you can know something, but when you know something, it's a totally different energetic experience. And I think that moving through, from the gut into the heart and being able to open your heart and all of a sudden like be awake gives you a space of like unentangled observer in a way, or neutrality that you don't have when you're just working in that gut energy. Right. And the gut brain energy, I think there's something that happens before one is really like awake or, being able to be emotionally objective, where there's this gut brain thing that happens that, that keeps you stuck, right, in that old lower frequency operating system energy, right? Like running on the treadmill, listening to the duality, the fighting of the political parties, or I mean, there's all different types of ways that we can be in duality and have that thought of us versus them instead of realizing that oneness. And it does take a heart activation to, I think, unite those energy centers in a way that now I can move up into this higher energetic frequency because I have this unification and this opening that's happened. So I think that, I think that each one of us are past that energetic process, because when that happens, all kinds of things just come up to the surface for feeling and healing. But now, like once you move through that and you're on the other side, how do you work together with that energy creation, right? And use the gut energy, that digestive energy, for fuel to sort of like think about like a rocket, right? The rocket fuel happens in the gut, and then we're really blasted into this like higher frequency awareness.
I really like what you just said, because I haven't got them here. I've got 3 juggling balls, yeah. And as we said earlier on, there is no linearity to it. And what you were describing just now, Tanya, is like in the beginning of the journey. And again, let me speak for myself. I had more perception in the gut. So the gut, and then I brought in the head, gut, head, and then the heart, So it's like you keep juggling all the time. It's the gut, it's the brain, it's the head. All 3 need to be working. You need to work all 3 balls. But sometimes, you don't need to go in the gut, we go straight into the heart. And then even if it's in the heart, you still need to go into the head. What I'm going to do with this now, how do I define my clear vision that I've just had from the heart, so that I can use the gut, the action, right? The Dantian, the power, the fire, to create something with. So I think those 3 create the balls, the heart, the mind, and the gut, are actually to be used intellect. And also, it's like, if you think about it, the doing in the beginning was all about do, right? And then it was like have. So the doing is all about the gut. And then have would be like the head. I need this in order to be. This is where then the heart comes in again, right? So it's like the do, have, and be. And now, can we just be? Yeah, we can just be. But does that create? No, we still need to do something, right? To use our hands, to use our, legs, to use our heads, to have, So those 3 balls are a good way of looking at it and see, okay, well, am I juggling the doing the whole time? Where are the other 2, right? What's going on here? And bring them all into balance. That's maybe a good way as well of looking into the coherence. And, one is not better than the other. Equally, we need all of them to play with.
In my vision, it's where you are centered. We use all of them, because we are still humans with bodies and we are embodying our experience, but where you are centered. You can be centered in a brain, and it's very much like that Tanya described. It's like running around, never stops. and we can be just in intuition centered, for example, just follow intuition. That is, in my perception, more clear experience, but still very murky. But if you centered in the heart, like we already discovered, it's a beginning of who we are, that can give us an intuition and brain logic and make an experience and have that beautiful voice what Herminia was sharing, giving us beauty in everything, recognizing beauty and following beauty. It's kind of like how I feel.
And this is where this whole self-realization, ascension, awakening, moving towards, you know, heart-based awareness.
There's something that keeps coming into my mind, and I can't remember whether it was Timothy Leary or like one of those psychedelic researchers from the 60s was talking about one time when the hippie generation, right, in the late 60s started doing a lot of like LSD and, you know, psychedelic drugs with that activate the DMT in your body, that it took the collective consciousness from those lower chakras, from the gut, and energetically like catapulted it up to activate the third eye in the collective community, right? All these young kids, you know, really like blowing their third eye open, taking LSD and, you know, different types of psychedelics, opened up an energy pathway that sort of opened up in the collective consciousness, right? And I just thought it was really, thought it's really interesting to hear Timothy Leary, I can't remember who it was, but talking about the way that energy blasting open of the third eye in this energetic spiritual awareness then started creating these spiritual pilgrimages. Like the Beatles going to India, right, and sitting in the ashram, and then a lot of people following that energy. So this like wider awareness of the spirit and the unseen world sort of blasted into the collective consciousness at that time. And I'm born in the 60s. I'll admit it. But that's the kind of energy that called me in, right? This awakening and this awareness, this blasting through of that old, like being stuck in that heavy energy of duality, right? Where you can't explore the energy of the unseen and the unknown. I'm reading,
Exactly. New passageway.
I'm
Exactly.
reading
We didn't
David.
throw away anything. We didn't throw. Everything's the same. We just now rewired. Yeah. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah.
I'm reading David Icke's book, The Trap, right now. He talks about his early history as a footballer and working for the BBC. And then he had this sort of like awakening in 1990 and then started talking about spirituality. Everyone thought it was crazy, right? And I think like way showers like him, and I think each one of us is a way shower in our own way, right? Changing the conversation about what's going on in the duality sense of the word and the global narrative, and then also what's going on in the unseen, because that's really that's where the most interesting energy is anyway.
And this is also part of, the balance when we look at our scale, right? I mean, it's like there has to be a balance between the lower and the higher frequencies. And this is where the work that we're doing by anchoring that light in, that sort of counterbalances and helps to harmonize the whole stability on this planet for people because we don't know how, it's not the how, we have no control over the how. how we're going to wake up. Some of us, we're doing it the hard way. We're doing the hard work, right? We're anchoring in the light. And then there will be those, like you say, that all of a sudden, flush, they've never looked at one bloody revocation, ever. And all of a sudden they're right there. And that is part of, the different experiences. And this is why that, non-judgment and no prejudice is one of the key points that we keep drilling down on, Jen, you've come in a bit later. What is your mind or head, heart, gut from your experience?
Well, the last few years in all these discussions that we've had, I've been exploring where I am and how to work with where I am and how to balance it with others. And I think we covered this a little bit on the last week's talk also, that I don't really so much feel independent or separate energy centers anymore. Like it really is just all one, and it's where I decide to put my focus and my energy in, that remembrance that when something feels out of balance, to balance them all, because it takes all of them to create the path, right? So I've been exceptionally like spread everywhere the last bit with work being busy. My family's had all kinds of things going on, and then I'm trying to create this healing center too, right? So like I've had my time really full, and it snowed here Sunday night, and I mean I live in the South, right? It doesn't snow here very often, and we got 7 to 10 inches across town, and so Monday it wasn't a holiday for me, but it was a holiday for a lot of my government clients, and like the phone didn't ring all day, and it was so wonderful because like I couldn't get out if I wanted to, and nobody was asking for things, and so I just let myself take that day to like just relax and enjoy it. And the magic does show up when you slow down and you just allow it to present itself. So like just walking out in the snow and all the little sparkles of the sun hitting it, well then like there's moisture in the air that's flash freezing, and so like there's all these little pixie dust sparkles in the air, and it's just magical. And the way the birds flock around the bird feeder suddenly, just taking that time to slow down. I haven't had that in a while, and I forgot how much I missed that, just sitting back and watching the world around me instead of the world that I'm focused on in the present moment. And so that really brought me back to center. And like this morning, I shoveled, I have 2 driveways. I shoveled off half of one of mine yesterday, the longer one. And honestly, like I don't do that kind of work very often. I don't have a proper snow shovel. I live in Tennessee. We don't have snow shovels, like I had an oversized scooper effectively. And my body was sore from it. And I woke up this morning, I thought about doing the other half. I was like, what, fuck it, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna sit back and rest. I'll get out when I get out. I got plenty of food. I love being snowed in because like I made a pan of brownies, I made a pot of soup, like just, I don't know, enjoying being the hermit woman. And as soon as I decided to give that up, my neighbor showed up with a tractor and cleared both of my driveways. But yeah,
Amazing.
Which was a nice exercise in receiving. So just putting myself back in that, watching the world around me and watching it come in. The unseen world has been really prevalent, particularly the more work I do on the healing center, because that is in the frequency of where we're going, right? That a lot of outside things have showed up to support that, and being able to give off certain, we still have to do all the tasks, right? But if we almost give assignments, like this is your space to hold and this is your space to hold, and then watching those come back and everything just falling into place easy has been an interesting exercise as well. So I've spent time over the last couple of years witnessing the unseen world, but now I'm asking it to participate.
Fabulous. This is I have one thing that comes up when you were talking, it's like the work that you've already done on the head, mind, gut coherence in order to get yourself in a state where you feel safe. You do no longer have to fight the survival fear and that kind of thing. Because you see, this is part of what lots of people are still dealing with, you know, and that we mustn't take that away from people, because lots of people, you know, who would listen to this will say it's easy for you guys to say that, but you know, we used to be there too. I certainly used to be there too, you know.
Mhm.
I can almost say, you know, I've done all of this in one lifetime. You know, that's why it always feels like I don't know how many lifetimes I've actually lived, because I come from that place. So we're not talking that down at all, you know. But that's all part of the work, you know, the trusting our guts and using our intelligence and you know, working towards that being, that heart opening, and that receiving. It's a receiving issue. So that is a little bit of gratitude just for that.
It does take effort to get to where we are.
Mm.
And it sounds like, I remember when AB would talk about all these revocations that you had to do, and you know, I'm an A+ kind of person, right? Like that's just I'm a type A personality, and so like he would talk about an hour and a half every day, and I thought, well, how am I going to get an hour and a half every day? But you really, I mean, it doesn't have to be that. But once you get into a rhythm of doing the practice and you pull some variety into it, so you're not doing the same thing every day, you get into synchronization so easily that like that is your joy time, right? Because it brings you joy and it brings on the mystical experiences, and it propels you to where you want to go. Then you have to worry about like you have to recalibrate again and scale back to create more time for just joy and fun and pause and open space that doesn't have to be filled with something. So even if it sounds like a lot to get started, it doesn't take long to where that's your second nature and that's what's easy and fun. And it pays off in dividends.
Yeah. And this is again our 3 juggling balls,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you can define those 3 balls in all different ways, you know, but they all have to be up there at the same time, or at least, you know, we can't take that one and just put it away and ignore it. You know, it's just like, you know, we have to keep moving our bodies. You know, we might be able to neglect it for a little bit, but then at some stage it will, you know, start talking to us, and we have to pay it some attention.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
My cat's begging for some attention.
Yeah, what she wants.
Hi, Marbles.
She wants back outside, but she likes to be outside for like 3 minutes because it's like really cold outside. I never thought a cat would like the snow. She loves the snow.
Oh yeah. I remember mine. They love it, but we don't have enough. I think I had a 5 minutes snow the other day, and I already got excited, you know, but it wasn't worth the excitement, you know. So yeah. Okay, so question I asked in the beginning was, are we rejecting the light, or are we anchoring it in? Are we happy with what we're doing? I've got a little thingy stick out here.
I mean, for me, that's the that's the daily practice, anchoring the light, bringing it to ground,
Yeah.
connecting my source code light with the divine blueprint heart of Earth Mother, right? And then, you know, opening up those energy pathways to my own direct trajectory to source, right? Embodying as much of that light as I can. And you know, I think the quality and the energetic of that light has changed over the past year. I think it's more available. The higher frequencies are definitely more available. You know, I think about that propelling the energy up into that higher frequency, where you know, letting Earth hold space to be anchored and to be a part of my journey. You know, and remembering that everyone on this planet is here with a contract with Mother Earth, right? And has the ability to open up their energetic channel and ground light, right? And maybe that's the purpose right there. Is grounding your source code light, being present, right? And then now how can we expand upon that? Creating momentum and energies when we see these cycles where it's time to do that, right? It's not always time. Sometimes it's time to go inward and have that pause and to be restful. And we need that rest and rejuvenation too. You know, I mean, it takes a lot of energy to ground your light.
There's something that's come up for me. I've had a couple of years ago, I found 2 of those seed pods, and they were in a box, and I don't have them here now, but they were called Munai Ki. Don't know if you're familiar with that. And I found them, and I loved them because of what was drawn on them, but I never really looked into them, you know. So I just had them in one of, you know, my cupboards there. And then when I bought the book, the Andean, the sacred Andean codes, I read the Hummingbird from last time. They that was the entire book is about the Munai Ki rites. There are 10 rites of them, so 10 initiations.
Martina, how do you spell that?
Munai, M-U-N-A-Y, Ki. And there are courses out there you can take, and you know, these are Andean, you know, ceremonies that are being passed on. And the first one would be the one, you know, being part of a healer, being connected to your healer lineage. And then there would be one of the day keeper and the star keeper rites, and the earth keeper rites, and the womb keeper, you know, and all that kind of thing. Anyway, so, you know, and it just cracks me up because I found those seed pods, and there's seeds in it, you know, and I never really looked at it and said, oh, they're just cute. Put them there. And years later, after my trip now, I find those, and I'm reading this book about them, and it just makes me realize that those seeds, because, you know, I'm not a green finger. I don't like planting things or growing things. It's just not me. But something has changed in terms of, and I bring that back to the gut, to the change of my perception of what the gut's purpose is, because it's like, what if that clear vision that I have, because I have this clear vision about something, and I can feel it. It was perfectly, I felt it. It was, I know it's going to happen. And now it comes to the gut. And I'm like, okay, usually I'd say, okay, well, why am I not starting it yet, right? Why am I not taking any action yet? And all I'm being reminded through this Munai Ki, Munai means love, unconditional love, is like, you planted the seed. That's all you needed to do. During my trip, I planted that seed in the medicine journey. And you know, having bought that book out of the blue, don't even know where it came from, and finding my pods, my seed pods again, was the synchronicity of the Quetzalcoatl, which is the middle, is the representative of the middle world that represents itself through synchronicities. And like saying to me, you planted the seed, so just be cool, leave it at that, and it will come. Allow those seeds to germinate, you know. So that seed analogy has come through to me again. And also it's blown out of this lifetime. It's not necessarily that I have to do this whilst I'm still here, even though I would like to, but it could be a long-term soul agenda. And I think this is something, you know, we have to keep on, you know, reinforcing, or maybe reminding people of that. Whatever clear vision you have, and you can so feel it, it might just be the seeding that you have to do here right now. And then think of, you know, as soon as you put a seed into the soil, everything else has to start coming together in order for those, you know, seedlings to push through. So there is a different way of looking at your service, you know, in the creation, in the action, in the willing of your clarity, your clear vision, your product to come through. And in the meantime, I can just be circulating through the heart those new, I don't know, emanations through the experiences that I've had.
I love that.
Could I share something that I was thinking about?
Please do.
That you asked a question about the light, are we anchoring the light or whatever the question was. And for me, the point of where my thoughts are at, thinking about the light, or the question of anchoring the light. For me, I'm at the point of my understanding where I understand that the light has always been here. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's always here. But did I realize that? No, I didn't realize that. And I'm getting to the point where I'm beginning to realize that it is here. It's always been here. It's never gone anywhere. It fills all space. And the empty space that you see in front of you is really the presence of light, intelligent light. And the divine intelligence is everywhere, surrounding me and the entire universe. It's infinite. It's what is and always will be. And by this little bit of recognition that I'm getting from understanding this point of the light, when Jen was talking about her having to shovel the snow and then somebody showed up to help her, it's really the light showing up, synchronizing itself with her and performing the task of making the work lighter. Now, I went through the same process here this past week here, where it snowed several days in a row. So every day you have to go out and you have to clear the snow away. And the first day that it happened, and I was out there, and my partner could not do any of it because of circumstances. And so I'm out there and I'm cleaning the driveway, and I decided that, you know, I'll ask the universe to send me some help. I don't know where the help was going to come from or anything of that nature. But within 15-20 minutes, the neighbor showed up and cleared the pathway for me, cleared the driveway, cleared the sidewalk. And so I was so grateful for that I finished up the edges and stuff like that, you know. Then it snowed the next day again. And I'm like, oh, I got to do this all over again. And I decided to call on the universe again. And I say, could you please send me some help? Because it's about the same amount, and it was even heavier because the snow was wet the next day. And all of a sudden, I saw this guy, which lives a whole block away from me, showed up with his snowblower, and he showed up on my sidewalk, clearing the snow away from me. And there I realized that the light was showing up again. Within 20 minutes of my asking the universe, the synchronizing light showed up again. It snowed 2 days again later, really for 24 hours nonstop. There was so much snow outside. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to finish up doing all this? I looked through the window blind, and someone came out of nowhere and shoveled the whole driveway and left. I don't even know who it is. to this point in time that did it, but it was cleared away. The light just showed up again and did it. And later on, the next day, my neighbor's 2 sons, they came and did the rest that came back, because it's continued to snow and snow and snow. They cleared it away. And so for the most part, most of it was done just by trusting that the universe will send me that light and help that I needed to get it taken care of. So when you're at the point where you begin to understand the light itself being there for you, and you are recognizing that the light is actually right there in front of you, the light shows up when you ask for it. But you've got to consciously recognize it and make that step to ask about it, ask it to show up for you. And the synchronicity falls into place. So I was so grateful this past week for so much recognition of how the universe works for you when you get to that point of the understanding that it is actually there for you at all times. So this was a really, really good blessing for me to boost my trust and my understanding, to advance to the next layer, to the next level, by trusting that yes, everything will be taken care of. I don't have to worry about it constantly. Who's going to help me? How is it going to get done? Trust that the light is there, the light will show up, and the help will be there. And it doesn't matter where it comes from. You can't put up the border there to say, okay, I don't want this person to help me, or I don't want that person to help me. Be open to the light, and the light will show up. And that's really kind of what I wanted to share with you.
Oh, I think we can safely say you have not rejected the light.
Yeah.
You have
Absolutely not.
grounded it in. And this is what we said earlier on, the value of a commodity, which we called energy, the light, as a commodity for that purpose, is determined by the consumption, not the production.
Consumption, not the production.
So
I
the
will-
fact that Lana has received the light, she consumed it. It's all out there, as you say, and this is another thing about this Munai key. There is a Munai key P stone, P-I or Pi stone. I don't know. Have you heard of a Pi stone? Because you were mentioning the possibility. It's a stone where there's a hole in it. So you have the torus, and then it's like the donut stone, you know, the toroidal sort of field, the donut, and that little thing where my nose goes through just now. This is where the infinite possibilities are. The void space, the universal possibilities that are out there that Lana so beautifully, you know, received, consumed. The production is endless.
And this is exactly what kind of energy field heart is doing, that toroidal field. So this is kind of like again returning that to that. And we can start this journey to experience what just Lana shared from Indian saying, be humble for you made of earth, be noble for you made of stars. We can look into these energies in us and see, can you fit in the middle, that state or that vibration I call grace? If you are coming into that vibration, your journey is starting to realizing I am light, everything is light, and this is what's coming my way. Yeah.
Okay, I must add something else that I didn't include here. While I was finishing up the driveway, after someone came and helped cleared it out, the grader came back and of course graded in front of the driveway again, packed some, you know, real heavy stuff there. And so I was trying to clear it off, and all of a sudden this man showed up with his pickup truck, and he had a grader in front of him. Now, I don't know who he is, but he stopped, he reversed back, And he said to me, and he motioned to me, he didn't say anything, he just motioned to me if I wanted him to push the snow away from the driveway entrance. And of course I said yes, because I was seeing that the light showed up again, because it was going to take me a good half an hour to push all that additional snow away from the entrance. And he did 1, 2, 3, and then he was done. And he was gone. He just left and went away.
Yeah.
He just waved at me, and you know, it was just such a beautiful thing to see. People just showed up. The light was just showing up, you know, and doing its part, you know, and then left.
This reminds me of another thing, Lana, because you were saying, okay, the light showed up, and the light showed up in masculine doing energy. Do you find in the last, I don't know, couple of weeks or months, that the masculine has become so much softer, or has we become so much softer as women to receive the masculine?
Yeah.
You have that experience, or is it just me?
I think it's just where you're at in your own thoughts, your own consciousness. For everybody, it would be different. Because you see, I grew up with the masculine energy all around me consistently. So I already incorporated the masculine energy within me. So I don't see masculine, feminine. I'm just like a balanced. So whatever shows up is what's supposed to be in the moment.
It sounds like the masculine is serving your feminine quite a bit at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to like snow and stuff like that, that's what pretty much shows up all the time. The masculine energy, you know. It's
Well,
a given.
and I just have to say too, you asked, right?
Yes, I
It
did.
wouldn't have shown up if you hadn't asked.
That's what my point was too. Yeah. When you get to the point where you recognize that all of this, the light is always present, and you get to the point of the recognition of it in your own consciousness, and then you ask, knowing that, you know, it works in your favor. Favor is not a right word either, but it works in line with your thoughts, your synchronized thoughts. Then, you know, things fall into place.
Yeah, it's align with just what you are in the moment, right, Lana?
Yeah.
Align with you. And you know, it's interesting because usually they say that, you know, something that people used to say after the secret, that what you focus expand. That's mean you were focusing the light, and the light expand, because how many times you had the manifestation coming to your door from nowhere because you were in that zone.
Yes.
And that reaffirm embrace, I can say that word maybe, re-embrace on myself. Like I remember when Martina she shared about the experience with the shaman that touched her face with the flower when you were in Peru, Martina. And then in that moment, I saw myself over there in Machu Picchu and experience what you were experiencing in the moment. And that's his confirmation that really the illusion that the separation that we have is, we have to, I'm looking for the way that in the moment where we're going to realize that we are not, there's no separation. When somebody is experiencing something, whoever is aligned with that experience, it can be experienced at the same time, simultaneously. Because look, Lana, you need a help, and those people coming from nowhere, because those people were aligned with what you are asking to the universe and the light to be manifested in what you need in the moment in this experience of life. And that means there was no separation. It was like you are aligning with what you were asking for, but you are in that line that I was able to manifest and came through you, because there was no separation at all. And that's
one of the things that when I went out, I didn't go out with a grudge against the weather. I didn't go
Mhm.
out with a grudge against the snow. I didn't go out with a grudge against how much was out there that I have to do. I didn't go
Mhm.
out with a grudge that my husband couldn't come out and help. I didn't go out with any sort of thoughts that was
Mhm.
negative.
Mhm.
I just went out with a grateful thought that, it's so beautiful outside. Snow
Yeah.
is very beautiful,
Yeah.
right? Anybody who's experienced snow knows that it is so beautiful. And the other thing I didn't mention was that I did not get cold. It was
Yeah.
very cold outside. I was protected. My fingers didn't freeze.
Mhm.
And one of the other things too that I didn't experience was any repercussion from so much physical work in any
Mhm.
way, shape, or
Mhm.
form.
Yeah.
Usually in the past, I would do it and I would have pain. Like Jen was saying, she had some of that.
Mm.
For the several days that I did it, I'm so grateful that I
Yeah.
didn't experience a single pain in my arms, legs, back,
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
And so that humbles me even more
Yeah.
to know that the universe is actually working
Mhm.
with me, not against
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. You're in that song of gratitude, acceptance, and allowing at the same time. And now that you mentioned that, I can feel from my point of view that the energy of compassion is like more activated. And it's I thinking like Martina mentioned about through the masculine. It's looking like women looking for more allowancing, not the competition that we were programmed to be. Maybe we are in this realization now that more people realizing that we are not to compete one another, is just a collaboration. Because my cousin, she moved to a house and we had a lot of snow here too. And she was with her 2 kids plowing cleaning the parking, and then this neighbor coming from like 3 or 4 houses behind that she never met him, because she just moved in, and he coming with this the motorcycle snow removal, and she was coming out to pay him, and said no please. And she never said hello to that because she never saw that man before. He was like a 3 or 4 house behind her house, and he just came and cleaned the whole sidewalk, the other side of the parking lot. And it's like I can feel that the manifestation of compassion is embracing more our experience. What I can see from what you share and what Jane shared too. And we can see it all around us.
Yeah, Herminia, I was going to say that in different words, that, when I look at the people that are showing up to help, these are not highly awakened people, right? But they're still showing up in service to others. And that's not necessarily the mentality and the energy that we have seen from
Mhm.
like the mass population, but we're seeing it now. And I've witnessed it from the masculine and feminine perspective lately too, Martina, in various ways. But I've been very surprised to see like that sense of collaboration, compassion, people wanting community, people wanting to get together and to help each other more now than I've seen in a long time. And I think that is the product of people like us in pockets emanating that frequency, right? That's helping to steep around the people around us, and it's rippling out. I'll also say, Lorna, that last night when my back was hurting and I had time to look on Amazon, flamethrowers are $50 on Amazon, and they can be used for weeds in the summertime too. So next winter I'll just be a dragon and I'll flame it out of my
Yes. Oh, fantastic. No, definitely. I think our individual work and experiences, they have a huge impact on the collective. And, again, let's not just think human. Let's think the impact that it has on our fractal selves and our hub of interconnectivity. And then the far-reaching, impact of our hubs of interconnectivity that are obviously not just on this planet, how are they impacting the masculine, the feminine collective and consciousness all over the place, you know.
And our work, what we did inside, coming to that mastery, we came to vibration, to inner knowing, no doubt, just inner knowing. And this is what realization. To our intention, we need to stay in that vibration of no doubt, trust. And this is, again, it's vibration of the heart. When you work with heart, there is no logic there. You can't prove. So you have to stay in that vibration of trust, no doubt. And this is what's happening. We already have that vibration inside of us. And this is what recognition of space around us, because that vibration already around us. But vibration of space around us in our world, 3D, it's not 3D. It's only humans still stuck in 3D level of consciousness, but everything else already magical around us. And this is what makes it so simple to tap into that vibration if you have it inside already, remembered inside. Yeah, everyone has, but you have to step into that vibration of trust, knowing, inner knowing.
And that's the elegant beauty of those three energy centers working together, right? You have the asking, the request, but if you're not trusting, it's not going to flow through, right? If you're not using the digestive element, right, to recognize what your situation is, and so you don't ask for help, right? You're never going to get it. When those three energy centers are working together, look at the beauty of manifestation, right? That the driveway shovelers, in this case, showed up.
And this is part of that question that we asked, are you rejecting the light? Is actually the question, are you accepting yourself? Are you in allowance of the choices that you're making? Are you deserving and worthy to ask for more? That's all part of that light that wants to be acknowledged. And what was the other thing? I was going to say something. It will come to me.
Well, Harmenia mentioned this one word, re-embrace. So when you think about it, what we're actually doing is just re-embracing what has always been there. It's always there. We're just coming into that fresher understanding and re-embracing the light again. The light never went anywhere. It's always there.
Goes back to how you look at things always with your current level of awareness. And the more expansive your level of awareness gets, the more you can experience of everything.
Yeah.
2 hours already, Irina. Gosh, almost there. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for being there. Are you leaving? Yeah.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
darling. Thanks for being here, for your
Thank you,
contribution.
thank you. Fun.
Bye. Thank you.
It's like, I
Bye-bye.
think I read something in that Andean sacred code. They were talking about Pachacuti. Pachacuti is all about, you know, the new future. And they are talking about the new prophecy and, you know, like everything that what we know, galactic citizenship, we're just using different words. And they say, you know, the last Pachacuti change was obviously 500 years ago. And now this is the next one. And I haven't really gone into more details on it to say, but, you know, and of course, we also know with the upgrades of the planet, you know, which we are now starting to more and more integrate, that there has been, depending on how you want to look at it, it's less dense or more dense for us to really start acknowledging all those amazing changes. And I think also, you know, when you look around, when I'm looking around what's out there at the moment, that avatar emergence, the fractalization of our soul and the hubs of interconnectivity, you know, beginning of last year, nobody spoke about that, or not many people. But now it's becoming more and more, it's more and more a thing for people to realize the fractalization, and that our soul is split in so many shards, parts, and avatars and versions and everything. So this is really something to acknowledge more and more. And I think that work that we have already done with it is a huge part, because so many of those versions have been in competition. We talk about, I think Lana, you mentioned it, or Herminia talk about competition between the male and the female, and how many versions of us have we in this reality, or in the different dimensional realities that are male, female, or, you know, non-gender, and fighting, and they're still in competition. And, you know, all those revocations, all that work, and that acknowledgement of it, that is a thing. Because a couple of years ago, I had no idea that there was a thing. But as soon as I knew that was a thing, that's why I sometimes work it, you know, all the way different. So yeah, I think this is an ongoing work, because that also takes us into the galactic citizenship. And this is something we are working towards, you know. This is something, you know, I want to do more of. And it's not talking about the astral wars or anything. I'm actually, as world bridges, I'd like to really get a better understanding, and then the feeling, and then the doing, or whichever way we want to do it. How we've got 30 years, if we go by what AB is saying, 2054, we got 30 years. Let's just work on that basis. We've got 30 years to prepare ourselves and this planet, this galaxy, this universe for galactic citizenship. Now, what does that entail? What do we have to do, have, be, you know, heart, gut, head, in order to get that sort of, get a better grip on that? And, you know, I mean, we're always saying, you know, we as humans, we never had a manual, what it's like to live on this planet, right? Maybe that's something we can start looking at, you know. How can we come together? And then, of course, you know, look, I mean, it's a huge thing. We have to start thinking of our economy, our political situation, the government. You know, we have to go back into the structure. We have to be in it in order to change it. I mean, we are in it anyway, but now we can go back and say, yes, domination and control. And now how can we change it? And not necessarily to just go all off grid, because we have to stay here. And what can we be and do on a daily basis to contribute to a self-government of the individual, or the groups, or the bubbles of reality? You know, just start forming ideas along those lines whilst everything else is going down. So create this galactic citizenship bubble and throw in a lot of energy, a lot of seeds, and see what germinates, what pops out for us. You know, I mean, I was told in my journey that I'm a writer. I've written 2 books, but obviously I needed to hear that I was a writer. So, okay, so I heard that now, and I will be writing more books, and those books will be helping to heal people if they choose to read them. And they will be very different books to the other 2 books that I've had. They will be stories that I will have to translate. Those multidimensional codes I will have to translate through my DNA, because I've lived in this planet's soul groups, you know. And that was something that I will be focusing on, but that's in the seed state, because it will be a different kind of writing, which I haven't really figured out yet, obviously. But I'm like, okay, seed, I have to remind myself.
Seeds.
Seed. And I'm like, with my Moonai key, yeah, just seed. I can hear you. You know, so, but there's a lot of clarity for me, and it's cleared out a lot of the other stuff. because I know I'm a healer, but I didn't want to do the hands-on healing anymore. I know I'm a teacher, but I didn't want to do certain things. But this is now, I'm a writer, and it was very clear, I'm a writer. And that clarified a few things, because the last book I wrote was more, well, it was a bit of my story, obviously bringing stuff together, lots of different things, and adding my own little teachings. But this is going to be different. I'm almost thinking it will be maybe stories of different cultures, species. Anyway, we'll see about that. But what I'm saying is, I don't know why I'm saying this, but that will be, if I look at the heart, I looked at that, the head's clear on it, the heart's clear on it, the gut is like, okay, we'll see what you're going to be and do, you know, on this. But is it a contribution to the galactic citizenship? Absolutely. It will be my contribution, one of my contributions to that, my kind of healing, my kind of, you know, working through my, yeah, that.
There's,
So
a quote from Buckminster Fuller that keeps like coming up, that says, "Don't fight the existing system, create a new model." Yeah. You know, and I think that's what, you know, you're doing, certainly, and I think all of us, right, on the ground floor of how are we launching ourselves in, you know, how are we launching ourselves up through the chakras into higher dimensional awareness, and how to create within that space to create this new energy and new model that we haven't seen, you know, in hundreds of thousands of years, maybe, here on this planet.
And it's interesting, because clarity creates. And I know that for me, I had too many things on the go. I was juggling not 3 balls, I was juggling 50. Okay, this. And with the medicine journey, that was like all taken out and distilled, almost the philosopher's stone, you know, if you want to look at it from that perspective. Everything came down to, you are a writer. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. And yes, that doesn't mean that I can't do other things, obviously, but there's something there, and that's now instilled.
No, that's just priority, your main core.
Yeah, and it works in so many ways, because, you know, it's like, for me, you got all the boundaries in that. No, I can't force anybody to buy my book. I don't force anyone to read the book, right? It's out there for anybody who wants to read it, right? Also, I can write it within my own home. I don't have to go anywhere. So it serves my maybe because my Cancerian is now coming through more than my Sagittarius, which I lived out as my ascendant in the beginning of my life here. You know, it's like, no, I'm quite happy where I'm at, you know? So I'm using this space that I have created for myself to do that, you know? But then again, you know, it's not just the one thing, but it's quite interesting how these things work. And the other thing that was, what has happened is that whilst I've eliminated the majority of the balls, the contribution has changed. It's almost like now with the Moonai Key, for instance, you know, I'm starting to think much more, okay, well, let's bring the Jaguar in. How can the Jaguar energy help me to write? How can the hummingbird energy help me to write? How can Quetzalcoatl, Pachacuti, blah, 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 whatever. It doesn't have to be the Andeans only, but it's almost like how can anyone, my husband, my daughter, you guys, you know, what we're saying here, all of that can come together, you know? And that's what Lana was saying, you know, just ask. And it will be given. And you know, it's quite interesting, apart from, you know, obviously the device is listening to everything you're saying, because, you know, you're saying these things and all of a sudden it's already on your feet. I'm like, really? The Moonai Key, just because I bought the book? Where did they take that from, right? It just came from somewhere. But apart from that, it's okay, right? I'll take that.
Yeah.
and I leave the rest.
I just want to say one thing here, though, but you're saying ask, right? And you'll receive. There's a lot of us that ask and ask amiss. We don't receive. And that's only because we haven't gotten to that point of understanding how it works. When you get to the point of understanding of how it works, then when you ask, you receive. But if you don't have that understanding, how it all operates, and when you ask, you know, nothing happens, and then you say, screw that, I don't believe what they're saying, you know, because I'm asking all the time, I'm not getting anything. So it takes a lot of work. For those who are listening, it does take a lot of work to get to that point where when you ask and then you start to visually see the results of your understanding coming to fruition. So don't give up hope, you know, keep working on whatever you need to work on to get to that point of that better understanding of the science of the way the universe works.
Yeah. But, Lana, this reminds me that they say you have to do something 10,000 hours doing the same thing to become the master of doing it. Like if you want to become a master piano player, you have to at least play the piano 10,000 hours, and nothing is coming just 1, 2, 3. It just it's you gotta work on that process to detach ourselves, to take away all the attachment that we have that limit us, our action, and our openness to receive and to allow. The rest thing that you said, that because it's not like 1, 2, 3. It's like a process. How much I have cleaned my vision, that to be able, or I can say myself, how much I clean my glasses to be able to see clearer through my glasses.
Yeah, that's
it's
you.
like how I have cleaned.
It's a beautiful way to actually close our circle today. Thanks, Lana, for that. And you know what? You're absolutely right. And this was what actually our topic was all about: mind, heart, gut connection. And that includes all and every single show that we've done since April 2020, because that includes the self-mastery, the self-healing, and the sovereignty. It includes, for me, having written 2 bloody books already before I allow myself finally now to acknowledge that I am a writer. So yes, the clarity of vision, like Herminia said, it's the clarity of vision. And it took me, and also I have to say, I mean, I went to Peru. That was the only place I really wanted to go. And I was there on a 4-day medicine journey as well. So, you know, I put everything. That was my pilgrimage last year, going to Turkey, to Mexico. That was the gift that I was waiting for. No, the seeds. I only gave you those bloody seeds. All this work I've done, and all I got was these bloody seeds.
Thank you, girl. I gotta go inside to warm up my feet.
Yes, warm up your ass, but you must be freezing. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.